I noticed Sarah's nervous laughter when she thought no one was looking. It felt strange, like a balloon about to pop. I could see her trying to smile, but her eyes told a different story. They were darting around the room, and it seemed like she was hiding something. I couldn't figure out why she was acting so strangely, especially since she had planned a party for me. I chose to keep quiet and watch her more closely. Every time she laughed, it sounded forced, almost like she was trying too hard to make everything seem great. My heart sank as I realized this celebration might be covering something much darker. I stepped into the room, and it felt like a strange dream. The balloons were bright, and the flags hung everywhere. But something felt off. This wasn't how I imagined my surprise party. Sure, everyone looked excited, but a strange stress filled the air. Sarah, my best friend, had put all this together, and I should have felt happy. Instead, a chill ran down my spine. I looked around at the crowd. Most smiles were wide, but not everyone was familiar. Some faces were new, and their grins looked forced, like they were hiding something. I overheard bits of talks that made my heart race. Words like deception made me shiver. I moved through the crowd, and questions started to swirl in my mind. Was this really a party for me? The laughter bounced around the room, but it felt empty. I remembered our late-night talks, filled with trust and lies. Now, I felt something dark lurking just out of sight. "Sarah," I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. "What's going on here?" She rushed over, her smile bright but her eyes darting around. "It's just a party, don't worry." I wanted to trust her, but every cheer felt like a punch to the gut. The colors and sounds clashed with the storm building inside me. I had to find out what was really going. This was meant to be my party, but it felt like a stage for hidden agendas. "Are you hiding something from me?" I pressed, narrowing my eyes. Her smile faltered for a second. "No. Of course not." But her voice was shaky. I felt my heart race with determination. "Then why do I feel so uneasy?" Before she could answer, a group of those foreign faces huddled together, whispering. I caught a snippet of their conversation. "She can't find out." My stomach dropped. What were they hiding? "Sarah, who are those people?" I pointed to the group, my voice rising. She paused, glancing at them before back to me. "Just friends from work. They wanted to party." "Celebrate what?" I shot back, anger boiling inside me. I could feel the betrayal coming in. Suddenly, the lights darkened, and everyone turned toward a giant cake. "Surprise!" They cheered, but I felt anything but surprised. My heart beat. This was more than a party, it was a trap. "Sarah, what's really going on?" I demanded, my tone sharp. Her eyes widened, and for a moment, I saw fear flicker across her face. "I'll explain later, I promise." The lights dimmed, and the crowd exploded in cheers, but a knot twisted tighter in my stomach. I stood among familiar faces, yet something felt off. Sarah, my best friend, wore a big smile, but her eyes flickered away from mine like she was hiding something. As I moved through the crowd, I heard whispers. Words like deceptive and hidden motives floated around me. My heart raced, beating loudly, each beat pounding my growing fear. Was this a party for me, or was I just a piece in a game I didn't want to play? The laughing and chatter felt like a trap, not a party. I glanced at Sarah again. She grinned, but it didn't reach her eyes. Memories rushed back, times when her kindness turned to control. Moments when trust slipped away. I wanted to believe we were still friends, but the signs screamed otherwise. As the party buzzed on, I felt totally alone. This wasn't just a party. It was a mask hiding something dark. My senses shouted that I needed to figure it out, but fear wrapped around me. I had to find the truth before it swallowed me whole. The stress was thick, a shadow hanging over what should have been a happy day. "Sarah, are you okay?" I asked, trying to break the ice. "Of course, why wouldn't I be?" She answered too quickly, her smile faltering. My mind raced. What was she hiding? "It just feels different here." "Different? You're dreaming things." Her laugh was sharp, cutting through the air. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. I had to dig deeper. "You seem a little busy. Is something wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Just loving the party." She turned away, scanning the crowd. I stepped closer, dropping my voice. "If there's something you need to tell me, now's the time." She shot me a look, a mixture of fear and anger. You're exaggerating. Just enjoy yourself. Trust had always been the glue that held my relationship with Sarah together. But now it felt like a thin layer of ice ready to crack. I stood there, shocked and hurt, as treason twisted my stomach into knots. Everything I thought we'd was falling. I thought we shared a bond of honesty and loyalty. But now I felt like a pawn in her twisted game. Why, Sarah? I demanded, my voice shaky. Why would you do this to me? She shrugged, a smirk creeping onto her face. I thought you'd never find out. You were so easy to play. Her words hit me hard. I trusted her with my secrets, my hopes, and now she turned them into weapons against me. The laughter and excitement of the party faded into a heavy quiet, leaving just the weight of her deception hanging in the air. I can't believe you're like this, I said, feeling my heart race. I thought you were my friend. Friends. You need to wake up. Sarah shot back, her eyes cold and calculating. It's all a game, and I'm just better at it than you. I felt a fire flare inside me. No more would I let her manipulate me. I took a step closer, determination filling my veins. You think this is over? I'm not going to let you walk all over me anymore. She laughed, but it was clear the fun was leaving her eyes. You really think you can fight me? I don't just think it, I know it. I shot back, my voice steady. You've shattered our faith, but I won't be a victim. I'll come back stronger. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with Sarah. Over the past few months, our relationship had changed. And it was like a thick fog had rolled in between us. I remembered when we could laugh and share secrets without a care. But now, it felt like there was a wall built from doubt and suspicion. At the party, I kept an eye on her. She laughed and acted like everything was fine, but her eyes were wild, darting around the room. I could see the worry written on her face. She whispered with other guests, shooting looks my way that made my stomach twist. What was she hiding? The warmth we once shared had turned icy, replaced by a chilling sense of deception. Sarah, what's going on? I asked, trying to reach her. She turned to me, but I didn't recognize the look in her eyes. It was like I was talking to a stranger. Nothing's wrong, she responded too quickly, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. I could tell she was more worried about how she looked than about our friendship. I caught bits of talks around us, words like deception and greed. They cut through the laughing like a knife, and I couldn't ignore them. It hurt to see someone I cared about become someone who lived on secrets. Each moment passed like a weight on my chest, and I felt cheated. Our good memories now felt soiled, like they were covered in grime. I had to face her. I couldn't let her keep playing with my heart. Sarah, we need to talk, I said, my voice steady. She hesitated, glancing around for help from others. Maybe later, she said, trying to brush me off. But I wasn't going to let that happen. Now, I insisted, my heart racing. Sarah's laughter filled the room, but it felt fake, hiding something dark underneath. I pushed through the crowd, looking for the happiness I was supposed to feel on my surprise day. Instead, I heard comments that made my stomach twist. Words like deceit and plans flew around, each one striking me like a knife. I looked over at Sarah. She was grinning, but her eyes told a different story. As I listened more closely, secrets spilled out. Friends I thought I could count on were talking about Sarah's tricks. My heart raced with fear. Why did it feel so wrong? The air was thick with anxiety, closing in on me like a heavy blanket. I felt like everything I knew was breaking apart. Then I caught Sarah talking to some friends about her real plans. She'd made me the bad guy, twisting the truth to turn everyone against me while pretending to be the sweet best friend. My heart beat. How could I face her? I'd to reveal her lies, but I was scared. The moment I walked into the room, excitement hit me like a splash of cold water. The party buzzed with laughter and bright decorations. I grinned at my friends, their happy faces lighting up the space. But something felt off. I could feel secret plans hiding in the shadows. As I moved through the crowd, the thrill of the party mixed with a nagging worry. Sarah, my best friend, was everywhere, smiling and chatting, but her smile looked fake. The whispers of treason echoed in my mind. It felt like the happiness around me was hiding something dark. I tried to enjoy the cake and the music, but my heart raced. I overheard bits of conversations, words like deceit and schemes. My stomach twisted. I'd given Sarah my faith, but now it felt like it was slipping away. When everyone gathered for toasts, I forced a smile. The stress was thick in the air. I couldn't shake the feeling that this party, meant for me, was also hiding trouble. The night had just started, and I knew I had to find out what was really going on. "Hey, Sarah," I called, trying to keep my voice steady. "What's the big deal with everyone whispering?" "Oh, it's nothing," she answered quickly, her eyes darting away. "Just party talk." But her tone didn't match her words. I felt my heart sink. The cake looked delicious, but my appetite disappeared. Then, I spotted Jake, another friend, across the room. He was deep in talk with someone I didn't recognize. I moved closer, trying to hear. "She'll never see it coming," Jake said, smiling. My breath caught in my throat. What did he mean? "Jake," I called, my voice sharper than I meant. He turned, surprise flashing on his face. "Hey, just catching up," he stammered. "Right," I said, crossing my arms. "What are you really talking about?" Before he could answer, Sarah rushed over, her smile plastered on. "Come on, let's dance." "No." I shot back. "I need answers first." The room went quiet, eyes turning towards us. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. This was my party, but I felt like a puppet in someone else's play. "Fine," Jake said, raising his hands in defeat. "We were just planning a surprise for you, okay?" "Surprise?" I echoed, feeling a mix of suspicion and interest. But as I looked at Sarah, her eyes flashed with something I couldn't quite place. Was it guilt? I'd to know more. "I don't want surprises," I stated, my voice steady. "I want the truth." I stood there, my heart beating. Something wasn't right with Sarah, my best friend. It felt like she was a stranger now. Everyone around us whispered, and I could feel their eyes on us. Doubt crept in, and it made my stomach twist. I remembered the good times, the late-night talks, ideas we shared. But now, those memories felt ruined. Betrayal hung in the air like a thick fog. I felt like Sarah had been hiding something from me. Like she was planning against me all along. The warmth of our friendship went cold, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. I took a deep breath and decided to approach her. "Sarah, what's going on?" I demanded, my voice shaky but firm. The stress was heavy, like a storm about to break. Her smile faded, and her eyes turned icy. "Why are you acting like this?" I pressed, feeling my anger boil. I stood my ground, unwilling to back down. "You've been different. What are you hiding?" She crossed her arms, her face hardening. "You wouldn't understand." She shot back, her voice sharp. "Try me," I yelled. I couldn't let fear win. I needed answers. "Have you been lying to me? What's really going on?" For a moment quiet hung between us. Then she sighed, her mask slipping. "It's not what you think." I clenched my hands. "Then tell me the truth." The air was thick with tension as the guests crowded around. I scanned the room, feeling the party shift with each new entry. Laughter rang out, but it sounded forced, like everyone was playing in a play. I recognized some familiar faces, but their smiles didn't feel real. As people talked, I caught snippets of their talks that made my heart race. Words like deception and plans floated through the air, wrapped around me like a tight grip. My stomach churned. This was meant to be a celebration for me, yet something felt very wrong. Sarah ran from group to group, her laughter too bright, too rehearsed. I noticed people exchanging glances when she wasn't looking, sharing secrets I wasn't meant to hear. The mood grew heavier, and I felt alone, like a stranger at my own party. Each chat felt like a play, hiding the truth behind their smiles. I wanted to shake off the feeling, but the hints of deception were too strong. It was like I was at the heart of a twisted game. My heart raced as I realized I needed to face Sarah. This gathering was more than just a party, it was a brewing storm, and I was right in the middle, waiting for the chaos to explode. "Sarah," I called, breaking through the noise. She turned, eyes wide. "What's really going on here?" Her smile faltered for just a second. "What do you mean?" "It's your party." But I could see the fear in her eyes. "No. Something's off. People are talking about plans and lies." She waved her hand, brushing me off. "Don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself." But I couldn't. I felt the weight of their gazes, the whispers behind my back. I took a deep breath, determined to dig deeper. Tell me the truth, Sarah. Are you hiding something from me? The room fell silent, all eyes on us. Her laughter faded, replaced by a look of frustration. You're being dramatic. Am I? I shot back, anger rising up. I can feel it. This isn't just a party, it feels like a trap. She stepped closer, dropping her voice. You don't know what you're talking about, just trust me. But trust felt like a big word, one I wasn't sure I could hold on to anymore. My heart pounded as I looked around at the guests, realizing I might be the only one in the dark. I needed answers, and I needed them now. With every moment, the storm inside me grew stronger. I refused to be a player in their game. No more lies, Sarah. I deserve the truth. I felt the weight of betrayal hit me hard. This was my turning point. I stood in the crowded room, but inside, I was all alone. Sarah, my best friend, was lying right to my face. The faith we'd built for years was falling apart, and my heart felt heavy. I couldn't believe she'd do this to me. I had to face the truth. I couldn't ignore the way she twisted things to keep me confused. I could see her sneaky tricks now, and it made me mad. The noise of the party died away. All I could think about was what she'd done. Why are you doing this, Sarah? I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. She shrugged, a smirk on her face. You wouldn't understand. Try me. I shot back, feeling the fire inside me grow. Loyalty questions popped up in my mind. Had I been blind to her lies? I'd to protect myself from this toxic bond. This was my chance to break free. I called her out, and suddenly, I felt strong. I won't let you control me anymore, I declared, my voice steady. I always thought Sarah was my best friend, but everything changed at my surprise party. As I looked around, I felt a strange mix of joy and confusion. Laughter rang out, but it felt fake, like a mask hiding something evil. I couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah was up to something behind her bright smile. Trusting her felt like a mistake. I caught bits of talks that made my stomach churn. Deception and betrayal floated through the air, and my heart raced. Could my best friend really be plotting against me? It hit me hard, like a punch in the gut. When I finally faced Sarah, her cold voice sent shivers down my spine. I didn't do anything, she claimed, but her eyes told a different story. How could someone I loved so much turn so cruel? It felt like a knife had sliced through our friendship, leaving me raw and open. As I put things together, I realized Sarah's plans were bigger than I thought. She wanted to take everything from me: happiness, my friends, even my boyfriend. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a carefully crafted plan to destroy me. I felt a fire flare inside me. I wouldn't let her win. I'd to uncover her lies before it was too late. Sarah, I know what you're doing, I yelled, my voice strong despite my fear. The shock on her face was hilarious. The anxiety in the room with Sarah was like a balloon about to pop. My heart pounded as I faced her, knowing her smile hid something dark. The party had changed from fun to a fight, and I could feel everyone watching us with curiosity, others with worry. It was clear. This celebration was now a battlefield. Why are you doing this? I shouted, my voice strong but laced with anger. Sarah's tricks were laid open for everyone to see. Betrayal hit me hard, and I could feel trust falling away. The crowd shifted uncomfortably, caught in the thick air of rising emotions. Don't pretend you're the innocent one, she shot back, her words sharp like knives. Our friendship felt like it was collapsing right in front of me. I realized I'd been blind to her true self. The friend I thought I knew was a lie. As I scanned the crowd, I saw the stress grow. Guests talked, torn between staying loyal to me or believing Sarah. This wasn't just my battle, it was time to tell the truth about our broken friendship. I took a deep breath, ready to fight back. No more lies, Sarah. This stops now. The room went quiet, and the storm I'd sensed finally hit. How could I find out the truth when everyone seemed to be tangled in Sarah's lies? I felt lost in a room full of friends, but deception hung in the air. I needed answers. With trust issues swirling in my mind, I chose to talk to some guests, hoping someone would spill what they knew. I saw a group of friends laughing together, but their laughter felt fake. I couldn't just ignore it. I walked over and asked, "Have you noticed anything weird about Sarah?" Their looks changed, and I could tell they didn't want to get involved. I pressed on, sharing how I thought Sarah was being manipulative. Finally, one person said, "I've seen her do this before. It's like she loves causing trouble." Those words hit hard. I wasn't alone in my fears. Others had seen what I'd but were too scared to speak up. Anger and determination boiled inside me. I couldn't let Sarah keep hurting people. I needed to find the truth, and I wouldn't back down. With every chat, I hoped to discover the real story behind my friendship with Sarah. The pressure was on, and every lie felt like a weight on my shoulders. I was ready to face the truth, no matter what it took. I gathered my strength and reached out again. "What else do you know about Sarah?" I pressed a different friend, my heart racing. "She's not who you think she is," they answered, their voice low. I felt a chill. The pieces were starting to come together, and I was determined to reveal her for the toxic person she was. The truth was waiting, and I was ready to fight for it. As I pushed through the crowd, my heart still racing from the fight, I spotted Mark against the wall. His face showed worry, but I felt a strange link to him. Maybe he understood the mess I was in. I walked over, feeling the weight of my trust problems from Sarah's lies. "Are you okay?" Mark asked quietly. His kindness hit me hard. I paused. How much should I tell him? "I just found out my best friend isn't who I thought she was," I finally said. Mark nodded, and I felt he might know more about this friendship thing than I did. "What do you mean?" he asked softly. I spilled everything about overhearing Sarah's secret plans and how her true colors were coming through. Mark's face turned serious. "I've seen this before," he said. "Her goals aren't good. She'll hurt you if you let her." His words hit me like a punch, and I felt anger and fear mix inside me. "Why would she do this?" I asked, trying to understand the betrayal. Mark shrugged. "Some people can't stand to see others win. It's sad, but it's true." I wanted to believe Sarah cared about me, but I couldn't ignore the sneaky ways she was acting. It all started when she began twisting our talks, making everything about her. I felt smaller and less important every time. Her smile seemed fake, like a mask hiding something else. It was like she was playing a game, and I was just a piece on her board. As I watched her with other people, my mistrust grew. My friends noticed too. They'd say, "She's not who you think she is." Those words hurt. I'd always trusted Sarah, but now I faced the scary thought that she might hurt me emotionally. I felt lost, like I was walking through a thick fog. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was using me to get what she wanted. Every laugh felt planned, like she was hiding her true self. My heart raced with worry. I knew I'd to face her. Trust issues crept in quietly, stealing my peace. I couldn't let her keep running my life. I'd to be brave and face the truth. I felt desperate, but also ready to fight back. This was my chance to take back my story and reveal the lies. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said, my voice calm despite the fear bubbling inside me. She looked surprised, her eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" "I see how you twist things. You're not being honest with me," I answered, pushing the words out. Her smile faded, and I could tell I struck a nerve. "You're overthinking it," she said, trying to brush me off. "No, I'm not. This is about me too." I shot back, feeling better. "I won't let you play games anymore." The truth hit me like a slap in the face. I stood there, looking at Sarah, my heart racing. "Why would you do this to me?" I yelled, my voice shaking. It felt like the ground was slipping away beneath my feet. I'd thought our friendship was strong, but now it felt like a big lie. The laughter around us faded, turning into whispers. I could see other guests looking our way, their eyes wide with shock. I'd trusted Sarah with everything, my secrets, my dreams. Now, I felt like a fool. "You lied to me," I shouted, my chest tight with anger and hurt. Sarah crossed her arms, her eyes cold and narrowing. "You just don't understand," she sneered. It was like a punch to my gut. The fun party mood turned heavy, and I could feel the tension crackling in the air. What had I done to earn this? I looked around at the people watching us, their faces a mix of surprise and pity. I felt lost, stuck in a whirlwind of betrayal and heartbreak. I'd never thought Sarah would turn on me like this. I thought we were friends. I cried out again, despair pouring from me. But she just smiled, and it made my blood boil. In that moment, I knew this wasn't just about me. It was about trust, about how easy people can hide their true selves. I felt sick, knowing I'd let her in, only to be hurt. The party faded into the background as I faced the hard truth. I'd to stand strong, even if it felt like everything was falling down around me. "You're not the person I thought you were," I said, my voice steady now. As I stood there, a chill ran down my spine. Sarah wasn't just after my friendship, she wanted my boyfriend, James. My heart was beating fast. How could she betray me like this? Anger and sadness twisted in my stomach. I thought I knew her, but this was worse than I expected. James had always been reliable. I trusted him fully, but now I worried about Sarah's tricks. She was charming and knew how to get what she wanted. I could picture her leaning in close to James, muttering sweet words that would make him forget me. The thought made me feel sick. I watched Sarah laugh and flirt with everyone around her. She was putting on a show, but I could see right through her. She was hungry for attention and James was her next target. I couldn't let her win. I had to protect what was mine. James wasn't just my boyfriend, he was my heart. "James," I shouted, rushing over to him. He turned, surprised. "We need to talk." Sarah smirked, but I stood my ground. "You need to stay away from him," I said, my voice steady. "Why, jealous much?" She shot back, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Because I know what you're trying to do," I replied, my arms clenched. "You think you can just swoop in and take him?" James looked back and forth between us, confused. "What's going on?" "Sarah wants to steal you," I said, feeling a mix of fear and anger. "She doesn't care about our friendship." He frowned, looking at Sarah, then back at me. "Is that true?" Sarah's smile faltered. "I'm just having fun, James. You know that." I could see James thinking, and my heart pounded. "You're more than fun to me," I insisted. "Don't let her play you." The stress hung thick in the air. Sarah's grin faded as James stood firm. "I choose who I want to be with," he said, looking right at me. Revenge burned inside me like a roaring fire. I felt deceived, not just by Sarah, but by everything we'd built together. My heart raced as I planned my comeback. I couldn't let her get away with her lies, especially the ones about James. No way. She needed to feel the pain she'd caused. I thought about everyone else who'd been hurt by her lies. They deserved to know what Sarah was really like. I imagined standing in front of them, showing her true colors. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I wanted her to feel the same shame I felt when I overheard her nasty plans. I stood there, fists clenched, understanding that this was bigger than just hurting her. It was about returning my power. I wasn't going to be her hitting bag anymore. I started gathering proof of her lies, ready to face her with the truth. I could already see the shock on her face when I showed everyone what she'd done. "Sarah," I shouted, my voice echoing in the room. "You think you can play with my life and get away with it? Think again." She turned, her smirk fading. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, you know exactly what I mean," I answered, stepping closer. "It's time for everyone to see who you really are." Gasps filled the room as I pulled out the proof. I needed her to understand that her actions had consequences. She thought she was untouchable, but I was ready to take back charge. I wouldn't back down. The need for payback wasn't just for me. It was for everyone who'd suffered because of her selfishness. "Don't you dare. You'll regret this," she hissed, but I stood my ground. "I won't be your victim anymore, Sarah. This ends now," I shouted, and the crowd leaned in, eager for the truth. I stood there, my heart racing, ready to face Sarah. I could feel the fire of anger boiling inside me. She'd lied, and I was going to expose her. I took a deep breath, telling myself to stay strong. This was about more than my feelings. It was time to take back my truth. I scanned the room, meeting eyes with Sarah and the other guests. I needed to think clearly. What proof did I have? I replayed the words I'd overheard, the secrets and greed that twisted around us. Each memory stoked my rage and honed my focus. No more trickery. I thought about how to speak to her. I'd to sound tough, but not too scary. I wanted her to feel trapped, but I couldn't let her see me fall. Confronting her in front of everyone would give me power. I could feel the tension rising. This was my moment. With a mix of fear and fire, I knew I'd to act. I wouldn't let her lies ruin our friendship. "Sarah," I called out, my voice steady. Everyone turned to look, the room falling quiet. "We need to talk. Now." She looked at me, her smile dimming. "What are you talking about?" she asked, faking innocence. You know exactly what I mean. I shot back, stepping closer. You've been lying to all of us. I heard everything. Gasps filled the room. I could see the shock on the faces of our friends. Sarah's eyes narrowed, her mask slipping. You don't know what you're saying, she hissed, trying to regain control. Oh, I do, I answered, my heart pounding. You've been playing us against each other for your own gain. You're poison, and it stops now. The anxiety crackled in the air as she tried to think of a comeback. I felt powerful, ready to tell the truth. This was more than just a fight, it was a stand against her darkness. I wouldn't let her hurt anyone else. Don't think you can scare me, she snapped, but I could see the fear coming into her eyes. I'm not scared of you anymore, I stated, my voice strong. It's time everyone knows who you really are. The living room buzzed with tension as I looked at Sarah, the air thick and heavy. Everyone watched, eyes wide, feeling the storm about to break. This was more than just a party. It was about faith and betrayal. Why are you lying to me? I asked, my voice steady but a little shaky. Sarah's face changed from surprise to anger, her mask slipping. I'm not lying. You're just making things up, she shot back, but I noticed the fear in her eyes. I pushed harder, despair fueling my words. I heard you. You want to take everything from me. My heart raced with each word, like I was throwing blades. The tension crackled in the room. Sarah's eyes went dark, a dangerous spark flashing inside her. You think you're so great. You're nothing, she yelled, her words striking deeper than I expected. Tears threatened to spill, but I stood strong. This wasn't just about me, it was about all the lies she told in our friendship. The guests shifted, unsure who to back. I took a deep breath, refusing to back down. You've warped everyone around you. This ends now. My voice rang in the tense silence. How could Sarah just stand there, grinning like she didn't care? I was furious as I called her out on her betrayal. The air in the room felt heavy, thick with stress. Accusations buzzed around us like angry bees. Guests shifted uncomfortably, not knowing who to believe. My trust felt like sand slipping away. You've been lying to me, I shouted, my voice shaking with rage. Sarah's eyes widened, and she shot back. You don't know what you're talking about. But I did. I'd heard her words, felt her sneaky plans. Our relationship, once a safe place, was now a battlefield. The guests looked shocked and curious, some leaning in to catch every word, while others stepped back, feeling trouble. They were waiting to see how this would play out. I felt open, but I couldn't give up now. You think this is funny? I pressed, my heart racing. You want to take everything from me, even James. The room fell silent. I saw uncertainty flicker in Sarah's eyes. For the first time, she looked unsure. Sarah's face changed from shock to pure anger as my words hit her. I could see her expression harden, and I knew I'd hit a nerve. You're just making things up, she yelled, her voice sharp like a knife. But I wasn't fooled. This was Sarah's way of bending the truth to make herself look good. You think I'm the jealous one? I shot back, fire sparking inside me. You're the one who's been sneaky and plotting behind my back. The guests around us shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between us, feeling the storm brewing. Everyone's here for you, but you're ruining it, she screamed, her anger spilling over. It was clear my words had shaken her. I'd pulled back the curtain on her sweet act. The way she always tried to tear me down suddenly made sense. Her jealousy was a dark cloud, trying to control everything I did. I held my ground. This was bigger than just me. It was about breaking free from her grip. This ends now, I stated, my voice steady and strong. I saw fear flash in her eyes, hidden behind all that anger, and it felt powerful. I was finally standing up to the girl I once called my best friend. What was going to happen next? The air felt thick and heavy after my fight with Sarah. The joy that filled the room just moments ago was gone. Instead, faces that used to smile were now wide with shock and confusion. I could see the guests shifting, their identities hanging in the balance. Some looked at Sarah with disbelief, while others stole worried looks at. Mark stood a few feet away, his face uneasy. I could feel his mix of shock and anger, just like mine. The truth had burst through the mask we all lived under. Whispers started to ripple across the room, growing louder. I caught bits of conversations. I can't believe this. And, what's really going on? Echoed around me. Some guests started to slip away from the crowd, unsure where to place their trust. Were they sticking by Sarah? Or were they starting to see her true colors? The tension crackled in the air, heavy with unsaid words and tangled feelings. A few people tried to give comfort, their eyes filled with sympathy, while others just stood there, frozen and awkward. My heart beat. The ties we once had were fraying fast. This was no longer a fun party. It felt like a war zone of feelings. I wanted to scream my truth, but the weight of treason loomed over us all. "Why would you do this, Sarah?" I finally blurted out, breaking the quiet. She just smiled, her eyes cold. "You never saw it coming, did you?" The room exploded into confusion as the truth hit like a lightning bolt. My heart raced, and I felt the sting of deception burning inside me. People mumbled, darting looks at each other, confused and scared. Sarah's face went white as my words hung heavy in the air. It was a storm of feelings: anger, fear, and shock. Some friends quickly pulled away from Sarah, gathering around me. I could see the doubt creeping into their eyes. They were starting to wonder if she was really who she claimed to be. A few brave ones stepped up, sharing their own tales of her tricks and lies. Suddenly, I wasn't fighting alone anymore. We stood together against her lies. I felt a rush of bravery. My heart was still beating, but now it was filled with fire. "You can't keep lying," I yelled, my voice strong despite the chaos. The crowd muttered, and I noticed some nodding in agreement. This was my time to take back my truth. As the stress grew, Sarah's confident facade cracked. She was losing her grip, and I felt strong with my new friends by my side. In the bedlam, I found support, a sign that I wasn't just a target. I was ready to face her and show everyone who she really was. How could I have been so blind? I trusted Sarah completely. Now, here I was, surrounded by my friends at a party she threw for me. But it felt like the ground was disappearing beneath my feet. I overheard whispers, and they cut through the laughing like a knife. Trust was slipping away, and I couldn't ignore it. "Sarah, what's going on?" I asked, my voice shaking. Her smile faltered, and I could see either mask was cracking. She looked at me, wide-eyed, but I wasn't fooled. "Nothing. Why would you think that?" she responded. It was like a punch in my gut. How could she lie to my face while trying to celebrate me? The warmth from earlier was gone. I felt cold inside, like a storm was brewing. "You're lying," I shouted, and the room went quiet. Everyone froze, caught in our fight. I could see the guests' eyes moving between us, unsure of where to stand. "Stop it, you're imagining things," she snapped, but I could feel her fear. I was desperate. "No, I know what I heard." The air thickened with stress. I felt the deception cut deep, twisting like a knife in my chest. This wasn't just about a party, it was about trust breaking into pieces. As I prepared for the fallout, I knew our friendship might never heal. "You're not the friend I thought you were," I said, my heart pounding. As I stepped outside, the air felt heavy, like a thick fog of deception. The party inside had turned into a battlefield, where whispers of drama buzzed around like angry bees. I could feel the sting in my chest, a raw ache that wouldn't go away. People shifted nervously, some stealing glances at me, while others avoided eye contact, claiming nothing was wrong. "Can you believe what just happened?" someone said in low tones. I clenched my hands. Sarah had played me like a puppet, turning our friendship into something ugly. I never thought she could hurt me like this. It was as if a sharp knife had cut through the trust we built. "Why, Sarah?" I grumbled under my breath, remembering her sweet smile that hid her greed. This wasn't just a fight, it was a wake-up call. I couldn't let her control me anymore. I'd to face her, but more importantly, I'd to face myself. I took a big breath and walked away from the party. Each step felt like I was removing a heavy cloak of sadness. I needed to remember that true friends lift you up, not tear you down. "I won't be your victim," I shouted into the night, my voice echoing back at me, full of power. I knew this pain would take time to heal, but I was ready to learn from it. No more toxic ties. I'd choose wisely from now on. As I stormed away from the party, my heart raced with anger and disbelief. I thought Sarah was my best friend, but now I felt cheated. She'd laughed and smiled with me all night, but behind that cheerful face lurked a hidden purpose. I never expected her to hurt me like this, especially not in front of everyone. "Sarah, why did you do that?" I shouted, my voice shaking with anger. She just shrugged, her eyes cold. "You're too sensitive. It was just a joke." "A joke?" My stomach twisted. This wasn't funny. I felt like I'd been stabbed in the back, and the pain was raw. The trust we'd built was broken. I'd shared my secrets with her, and now I wondered if she'd ever cared at all. Were our late-night talks just a game to her? I glanced around the room, and the laughing of our friends echoed like a cruel reminder. It felt fake, just like Sarah's bond. My hands clenched into fists. I thought we were a team, but she'd turned against me, choosing to play me for her own pleasure. "I thought we were friends," I yelled, my voice cutting through the noise. "Friends? You mean you were just handy?" She shot back, a smirk on her face. That smile made my blood boil. I felt like a doll, and she was pulling the strings. My heart raced with sadness and anger. I'd trusted her, and now I was left alone with a lesson. Not everyone who smiles is a friend. With each step I took away from her, I felt lighter. I wouldn't let her toxic games rule me anymore. I needed real friend zones who cared about me, not ones who'd stab me in the back for a laugh. Leaving the party felt like pulling off a mask. I hurried away, my heart beating. Betrayal from Sarah hit hard, but I knew I'd to keep moving forward. This could be the start of something new. I'd to rebuild trust, not just with others, but with myself. Healing wouldn't happen overnight, but I was ready to find peace. Change was important. I wouldn't let Sarah's lies ruin my future. I decided to be around people who truly cared about me, making new friends who valued honesty. I learned to say no, understanding that not everyone deserved my time. This trip was tough, but it showed me what I really needed. As I pushed ahead, I thought about how I stood up to Sarah. That moment of bravery told me I could fight for myself. I wouldn't let her deception dim my spirit. Instead, I planned to shine even brighter, building a life filled with real ties and good times. Every day felt like I was getting closer to a better me. I recognized the pain but refused to let it control my story. I was ready for whatever came next, eager to accept the lessons I learned. Moving forward meant more than just forgetting the past. It was about taking a brighter path on purpose. "Hey," I said to my new friend, Mia, as we walked. "I want to leave the past behind and focus on better things." Mia nodded. "I get it. Let's make sure we've each other's backs. No more harmful people." As I thought back on that day, I understood that betrayal is like a sharp knife. It cuts deep, and I learned that trust can break like glass. I always thought Sarah was my real friend, but her actions revealed the truth. She twisted my feelings like a doll on strings, and everything changed. "Why did you do it, Sarah?" I faced her, my heart racing. She just shrugged, a fake smile put on her face. "You were too open. It was easy." I should have seen the signs. Her smile never reached her eyes. I ignored the way she'd laugh when I was sad, as if my pain was a joke to her. Those were my red flags, and I missed them. Now, I know I need to protect myself. I won't let anyone toy with my heart again. I've learned to set limits. You can't just walk all over me. I told my friends, and they nodded, knowing the weight of my words. Being around real friends is what counts. The ones who cheer for you without asking anything in return. The sting of betrayal is sharp, but it taught me something strong. From now on, I'll be careful with my heart. I won't let fear hold me back, but I'll be better. Trust is valuable, and I'll guard it like a treasure. "Let's make a pact," I said to my new friends one day. "No more poisonous people. We lift each other up." When trust breaks, everything changes. I learned this the hard way at that party. My best friend, Sarah, turned what should have been a fun night into a nightmare. The second I found out she'd been lying to me, my heart dropped. It wasn't just the deception, it was the hurt that followed. "Sarah, how could you do this?" I shouted, feeling my voice shake. I thought we shared everything: secrets, dreams, and laughs. But I was just a part in her game. As her lies crashed down like a house of cards, I felt so alone. "You were supposed to be my friend." I could barely breathe. The room spun, and I wished I could just disappear. Every laugh she gave me before felt like a secret dagger, twisting deeper with every truth that came out. "Stop! You're making this worse." She tried to protect herself, but it was too late. I wasn't just losing a friend, I was losing the part of me that believed in trust. The party turned into a blur. I saw people watching, some with pity, others confused. "Are you okay?" one friend asked. But I just shook my head, unable to find the words. After that night, quiet filled my world. I learned that trust is as fragile as glass, easily shattered by deception. I needed to be careful now, to protect my heart from those who claimed to care. Never again. I promised myself, unwilling to let her lies define me. I'd rise from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and wiser.